All right, let's talk about something that's, well, it's pretty much changing everything around us, often without us even realizing it. To really get a handle on it, I want you to just picture something with me for a second.
Okay, first question. What if a machine could actually learn? Not just, compute or follow orders, but truly learn. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right?
But here's where it gets really interesting. What if it could learn all this stuff without us having to spoon-feed it every single little step-by-step instruction for every single task?
And what if it learned kind of like a person does? By just observing things, by trying stuff out, making mistakes, and then just getting a little bit better each time it tried.
Well, that incredible idea, it's not science fiction anymore. It's very, very real, and it has a name. This is machine learning.
Okay, so let's really get into it. What do we actually mean when we say a machine learns? Let's break down this core idea.
So at its heart, machine learning, or you'll hear it called ML, is basically a branch of artificial intelligence. And the big idea is this. We stop being programmers who write out every single line of code, and we start becoming more like teachers. We don't write the rules, we just give the machine the textbook to study from. And in this case, that textbook is just tons and tons of data.
This slide really nails the huge shift in thinking here. On one side, you've got traditional programming. It's like a recipe. You write the exact steps, you put in your ingredients, and you get the same cake every single time. But on the other side, with machine learning, you show the machine thousands of pictures of cakes and say, figure out what a cake is. You're providing data and letting the machine discover the patterns for itself. The real magic is that it gets better over time. It's a total game changer, moving from telling the computer what to do to teaching it how to figure it out.
So how does this teaching thing actually work? Well, it's a process we call training, and it's pretty simple, really. The machine looks at some data, it makes a guess, a prediction, and then it checks to see if it was right or wrong. If it's wrong, and this is the important part, it tweaks its own internal logic just a tiny bit to try and reduce that mistake next time. Now, the amazing part is that it does this over and over and over again, maybe millions or even billions of times, statistically getting better and better until it's incredibly accurate.
Now, you might be thinking this is all brand new stuff, something from the last few years. But honestly, the idea of a learning machine has been kicking around for a surprisingly long time. So let's take a quick trip back and look at the origin story.
Yeah, it pretty much all started with this one simple but, well, revolutionary question from the legendary Alan Turing, all the way back in 1950. Can machines think? That one question basically lit the fuse for the entire field of artificial intelligence and set the stage for, well, everything we're talking about today.
And it didn't take long for things to start moving. Just 9 years later, a guy named Arthur Samuel actually coined the term machine learning. And he didn't just name it, he proved it could work. He built a checkers program that got so good just by playing against itself that it eventually beat him. But then, things kind of stalled. For decades, the field went into what they call a slow phase. The ideas were brilliant, but the world was missing two really crucial ingredients: enough data to learn from, and computers that were powerful enough to do all that learning.
So what happened? What was the spark that took machine learning from a slow-burn research project to the technology that's basically everywhere today? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was more like a perfect storm.
Yeah, it wasn't a single breakthrough. The thing you have to get is that there were three massive, world-changing revolutions that all happened around the same time, and they created the perfect conditions for machine learning to just explode.
Okay, so what were they? First, the data explosion. Think about it. Every photo we upload, every search we type, all of that created this gigantic global library for machines to study. Second, powerful computing. All of a sudden, we had the horsepower to actually process all that data, thanks to things like powerful gaming graphics cards, GPUs, and cloud computing. And third, we just came up with better algorithms, like these things called neural networks, which are kind of modeled on the human brain. And those are what allow machines to do incredible things like recognize your face or understand what you're saying to your phone.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory anymore. Those three revolutions have pulled machine learning right out of the research labs and put it directly into your daily life. And a lot of the time, you probably don't even realize it's there.
This table breaks down the three main teaching styles for machines. So first, you've got supervised learning. Think of this like studying with flashcards. We give the machine a bunch of examples that are already labeled, like here are a million emails, and these are spam, and these are not spam. It just learns to spot the difference. Then there's unsupervised learning. This is more like giving the machine a giant messy box of parts and just saying, hey, find some patterns here. This is how a streaming service might discover different groups of viewers who all like the same kinds of movies. And finally, you have reinforcement learning, which is basically learning by trial and error. It's like training a dog with treats. The machine tries something, and if it's a good move, it gets a reward. This is exactly how AI learns to get so good at complex games.
Seriously, just think about your day. When YouTube serves up that next video that you just have to watch, that's machine learning. When Google search results feel like it's reading your mind, yep, that's ML. The movie Netflix is sure you're gonna love, your voice assistant understanding your weird accent, that text from your bank warning you about a weird charge, it is all powered by this exact technology.
So, this all leads to one really clear conclusion. We are living in the age of machine learning. It's not something that's coming in the future, it's the engine that's already running, quietly, behind almost everything in our modern world.
Okay, so since this tech is so deeply woven into our lives, we have to ask the really big question, right? What does all of this mean for us?
And this is absolutely critical to remember. These systems aren't magic. They have serious limitations. They can only be as good as the data we feed them. So if our data has biases or is just plain wrong, the machine's conclusions will be biased and wrong too. These things don't have ethics, they don't have common sense, and that's exactly why human control and regulation are completely essential.
I think the healthiest way to think about all this isn't that it's here to replace us. The goal is to see it as an incredibly powerful tool. It's something that can augment our own abilities, help us see patterns that are invisible to the human eye, and solve problems on a scale we could never dream of tackling before. It's really about amplifying our own intelligence.
And that really leaves us with this final and I think most important thought. A machine learns from the data we give it. It follows the goals we set for it. It has no will of its own. So the ultimate question isn't about what the machine is going to do, it's about what we are going to decide to do with it. The direction it takes is up to us. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.